Yuki is an overpowered demon soldier who hates humans like Muzan hates the sun. However, after falling for the most gorgeous priestess in all the land, he betrays demonkind and becomes an adventurer just to get a chance with her divine kitty. This story starts on a dark, lonely night outside the demon lord's castle. A party of 4 led by the hero named Yuga has just shown up to save all of humanity by defeating the demon lord. They rush in, expecting to meet a colossal beast, but it's just Yuki, yapping about how they have to beat him first. Mikana immediately shoots a fireball, but Yuki easily neutralizes it, which shocks her. Levin then charges in to attack, but after dodging, Yuga sends her flying with a kick. Seeing this, a priestess named Cecilia replenishes Yuga's powers so he unleashes the true power of Excalibur. However, Yuki easily blocks it again before knocking them all out. Instead of chopping their heads off, he heals them, but while doing so, he takes a close look at Cecilia's glistening drumsticks and realizes that she is the girl of his dreams. Just then, his subordinates call him a creep for staring before asking for permission to unalive the party. After denying the allegations, he tells them to dump them at a nearby human village, and they warn him that the generals might get upset. 1 month later, General Zakil summons Yuoki for a meeting with the Demon Lord because he has fought the heroes' party 13 times and refuses to unalive them. After Zakil and the other demon general mock him for being a useless weakling, the Demon Lord asks Yuki why he refuses to unalive the heroes' party. Yuki then says it would be pointless to unalive weaklings like them, so the Demon Lord decides to have his subordinates do it. Yuki immediately recalls how weak his subordinates are, so he promises to finish the job by himself and returns to his room. While in bed, he reminisces on his fights with the party and notes that the only reason they haven't defeated the Demon Lord is that he is actually overpowered. He has been holding them back to stop unnecessary bloodshed, but with his subordinates' lives on the line and the fate of demonkind at stake, he decides to end things once and for all. Days later, Yuga returns with the girls and immediately pairs up with Levin to attack Yuki, but he easily blocks the attack and knocks them out without mercy. Mikana then unleashes her fireballs, and one actually catches Yuki by surprise, but he once again blocks it like it's nothing. As Cecilia rushes to heal them, Yuki starts laughing and tells Yuga to stop wasting his time because they will never be strong enough. The next moment, Yuga unleashes his most powerful attack yet, but as expected, Yuki blocks it. Despite this, they refuse to give up and say they have to defeat the Demon Lord, so Yuki offers to let 3 of them pass if they leave Cecilia behind. Yuki immediately refuses, but Mikana tells him to consider it because it's the life of one measly priestess or all of humanity. Cecilia gets shocked by the easy betrayal, but as Yuga tries to think of another solution, she tells them to leave and promises to keep fighting Yuki. Yuga reluctantly agrees and promises to come back before they run into the castle. Cecilia then tells Yuki that she already knows how powerful he is, but before he can respond, she attacks. He then begs for a timeout and introduces himself, but she gets confused and asks why he is being polite to his victim. Yuki explains that he would have unalived her minutes ago if he wanted, so Cecilia asks for the reason he wanted her left behind. After taking a breath, Yuki admits that he fell in love the first time he saw her and hasn't been able to stop thinking about her ever since. Naturally, she gets shocked but quickly rejects him, so Yuki sits on the ground like a homeless reject and says nothing else matters. Cecilia considers attacking him, but as he barely responds, she gets surprised and asks why he is not fighting back. Yuki then explains how miserable life as a demon warrior is because he is locked in his room during the day and only comes out to fight or raid human villages. When he says he no longer wants to be violent, Cecilia calls him a liar because all demons are evil, so he further explains that he is actually a human who got reincarnated into this world with demon powers. Cecilia remains confused, but as he decides to give up on life itself, she tells him to use his power for good and offers to show him the outside world. The next day, Yuga returns to the kingdom of Clarinus with news of the Demon Lord's defeat, and the king blazes them as expected before declaring a 3-day celebration in their honor. Around the same time, Yuki has also gotten to the outskirts of the kingdom, so he rips his horn and wings off to blend in. Moments later, while being carried through the city, Mikana tries to use their victory to get close to Yuga, but he ignores her to thank Cecilia because her sacrifice is the only reason they could get to the Demon King. By then, Yuki has just found the guild, so he walks over to the reception and asks for the registration form. An overworked corporate slave named Kramen then gives him the form before telling him to basically sign a waiver for when he gets unalived, like all the other wannabe heroes. After Yuki fills it, he explains how the rankings work and says that it usually takes a month to go from F rank to E, if he is strong enough to handle the basic quests and missions. He also warns Yuki not to lose his guild card because it will be difficult to get a new one now that the entire kingdom is celebrating. By nightfall, Yuki has already made quite a few bucks, so he decides to go even harder until he makes enough bread to be worthy of Cecilia's love. After a week, he returns to the guild to demand more quests, but Kramen flips out and asks why he can't get help from someone else. He then asks Yuki who he really is because no average loser goes from F to D rank in a week. Yuki immediately claims he is just an average guy who tries his best, so Kramen decides to stop the interrogation since he is not doing anything illegal. Right then, Cecilia walks in and tells Kramen to cancel the quest. He recognizes her, but she tells him to keep it on the down low before asking Yuki to follow her home. Much later, two guards see Cecilia's carriage approaching, and one of them gets excited until he sees Yuki stepping out of it. He immediately demands answers while holding a spear to Yuki's head, but thankfully, Cecilia explains that he is a friend. Minutes later, Cecilia serves Yuki some tea before telling him about the rumors circulating of some mysterious adventurer scaling through the ranks. She then tells him to quit the guild, but he gets surprised and asks why. Cecilia then reminds him that defeating the demon lord doesn't stop other demons from attacking humanity. Since the threat of demon kind is still very much alive, every human nation is seeking to improve its military, and they are all aiming for Yuga since he is the hero who defeated the demon king. Apparently, they have been sending baddies and all sorts of jewels to entice him, but Yuki quickly realizes that it's all a broader plan to make Yuga a pawn. Cecilia agrees that the nations are only trying to get an upper hand over each other, and they might eventually start fighting, all while dealing with demons as well. Since Yuki has the potential of becoming an S-rank adventurer, they will likely scout him as well, but the moment his true powers are revealed, he would become the greatest pawn and could quite possibly decide the fate of both demon and humankind. When Yuki reminds Cecilia that he still has bills to pay, she offers to find a way to hire him to work for her instead, but then he tells her to stop and says he will never accept any attempt to scout him since he only wants her. This makes Cecilia laugh, and after being thankful that he is still the dedicated simp that fell for her cakes, she tells him to keep being an adventurer. The next moment, her mom, Celia, shows up to see Yuki, and after she apologizes for how rude the guard was, her maid offers to break every bone in the overgrown dummy body. Celia then tells Sophia to leave and asks Yuki if he knows. While he wonders what she is talking about, Cecilia tries to stop her, but she explains that a bunch of guys, including Yuga, have asked for Cecilia's hand in marriage. Yuki immediately flips out and curses the anime gods for making Yuga hotter than him. However, Cecilia says that she has turned them all down, and Celia suddenly asks Yuki if he is ready to marry her. Yuki considers accepting, but after seeing the sad look on Cecilia's face, he tells Celia that he already asked her out and got rejected. So now, he is working to become a better man before trying again. Celia then says she was just testing him and would never give Cecilia away like a piece of meat. Yuki gets a little disappointed by this, but then she tells him to take care of Cecilia because he has proven himself as one of the good ones. After she leaves, Cecilia takes Yuki outside to talk, and he takes the opportunity to ask if they can be on a first-name basis. He immediately apologizes if it was disrespectful, but then she agrees, which makes him happy. Will Cecilia ever accept Yuki's love? Comment next part to find out, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.